What's
What's going
up?
on? What's going on?
Yo, it is social discipling with Nathan and
Jackson.
yeah, we're switching up today. We got Jackson in the studio with us.
Yes,
He's
sir.
gonna be bringing us a word. Super excited. This is the last one, like we said, and man, I'm kind of sad a little bit.
It's kind of
we-
emotional.
We've been doing this for like what 10,
11 weeks.
11 weeks. I don't even know at this point.
It's week 5 of social, or not week 5 of holy vocabulary though. So
That's
pretty
right.
good.
That's right. And
Yeah.
I read over your notes, and I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna be good.
Just a couple things before we jump in. Today's gonna be a little shorter because there's not a lot of things to just let y'all know about. Two things. The first thing, May 31st, we start our Zoom meetings on Sunday. Oh, it was like 1:30. Yeah,
1:30.
yeah, 1:30.
Yeah.
So sorry, I went blank for a second. We have our Zoom meetings at 1:30. Josh will be in that. I'll try and be in that. I'm sure Jackson
I'll be
and
there.
Hannah are gonna be in that. Nate will be in there. But yeah, that'll just be a time where we can just kind of chill, hang out, talk about the sermon and a little bit and what we thought, and just kind of
May 31st, the first one.
yeah.
something
May
like that.
31st is the first one. Yes, sir. So but yes, and then after that, we've got some summer events kind of planned out, and we're working on. We're thinking of some creative things for y'all. So stay tuned with us on the socials on Instagram, Facebook. However you get your information from us, stay tuned with us. We'll be updating y'all through that, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Jackson, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
excited?
Yeah, I'm pumped, bro. I'm pumped.
All right, man. We'll take it away.
Let's go. All right. So, guys, we're going starting off. We're week 5 of holy vocabulary. We went through holy, lost, saved, and last week was faith.
Mhm.
So now this is a new word. It's really the biggest word as far as length goes. And we're talking about sanctification. That idea of it's the act or process of acquiring sanctity, of being made or becoming holy. And so it's really, it's a big word. It's a lot of letters. It's hard for me to pronounce half the time. But it's the biggest we've talked about, and sometimes maybe I think it could be really the most crucial thing, kind of as our part in our Christian walk.
Yeah.
I don't. That's how I feel about it. So what we're gonna look at is start off with Lamentations 3, 22 through 23. So we're gonna open up into that. I don't have my Bible with me. I left it at the house, but I've got it on my notes here. So if you have your Bibles, turn with me there. So it says, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies are new every morning, and great is your faithfulness. And so what the kind of background behind this is, you're looking at, this is Judah, and kind of this verse in particular it's in the face of Judah's unfaithfulness to the Lord, and kind of they're straying away from the Lord and what his kind of his calling is for their life and how he wants them to walk. But his love never ceases. His love never fails in the midst of that. And so the next verse kind of turn into is Philippians 3:14. And it's I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. And so the big thing is like, we have goals in life. We have dreams and desires. And so that goal looks at, you think of a goal line, you think of a finish line here. And Paul lived his life on mission the entire time when before he was with Christ, he's out there killing Christians and really just really greatest missionaries we see in this in the Word, and so he's constantly aiming towards Christ in everything he does, having that internal mindset of like everything we do on earth is going to impact eternity, and so like that part about purpose. So Nathan, is there any time in your life where you felt like maybe you've lost your view on what your purpose is, or kind of that you've kind of strayed away from the purpose that God has for you, or something kind of like that?
Yeah, for sure. I There was definitely a point where I don't know if I lost my purpose, but I was wondering like what it was.
Right.
I don't. It was that year between freshman and sophomore year. I was a music major at A State, and but I knew I didn't want to be a band director. I knew I didn't want to be a choir director, any kind of thing like that. So I was just kind of like wondering. I'm a year into the music program. I'm learning all these things on teaching band and choir and stuff, but my heart just wasn't in like obviously I loved music, but it just wasn't into being like that kind of that route of music,
Right.
if you want to say it like that.
Mhm.
So I kind of got to this point where I was just like, man, what am I supposed to do with this? You know, I'm spending thousands of dollars to get this degree when my heart isn't in it and I don't know what to do. I still love music. I still love playing and producing and making music, but I just didn't know like what was going to be the outcome of that. And so, you know, just kind of diving into that a little bit, I used that time. I started interning here at Central actually the spring, like after the spring semester was done, my freshman year. And and so I just started playing keys, piano, whatever Jeff Stotts needed me to do. And so I just kept going, and then I faced that wondering of what my purpose was to do with all this information that I was learning. And I just kept reading the Word, and God used Romans 12:1 to just really show me that like this what I was doing is central. And there was, I'd still learned how to teach kids because obviously I'm doing youth worship now, and there's a lot of experiences I learned through that. So that season wasn't a waste. But once I realized that like there was something after this internship that I was doing at Central, that's when I kind of was able to like, okay, focus my efforts towards this. Still put effort towards my degree and learning all that stuff because it was useful, and it's bearing fruit now. But I was able to put a lot of my focus onto this and really building up my chops as a worship leader and just really soaking in all this information from Jeff and all these other people. So yeah.
That's good. That's good. So kind of like what's been a big thing right now is with quarantine and coronavirus stuff, everything's kind of shut down. So ESPN, they released this The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. So just some stuff like these guys didn't start off as the greatest of all time or NBA champions. They started off MJ. He wasn't a starter as a sophomore. He played JV. And then you got Scottie Pippen, didn't even play college ball. He was a manager until he got the spot on the team. Dennis Rodman didn't play high school ball, that kind of stuff. And then, Steve Kerr had no offers his senior year, stuff like this. And so you're seeing these guys who, they got this big goal and they reached these goals, and now they're, the greatest of all time and, the best teams and all this stuff. But there's a process there. They didn't start off at that point, And so for us as Christians, they worked on, or for them, they worked on getting better. Eventually they became NBA champions, 6 times, It's pretty great feat, but so that's kind of the same thing for us. We got to continuously get better every single day. And with sanctification, the Greek plural translation is I can't pronounce that word. It's like I can't. How do you pronounce that?
Hagiosmos.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna go with.
But that means it's talking about to be holy. So that also is translated into being set apart, and that's the believer being progressively transformed by the Lord into His likeness, and that's similar in His nature. And so it's more like Christ every single day. I know we see a lot of bumper stickers and stuff like that. You see that He is greater than I, or less of me, or that whole more of Christ every single day and less of myself.
Yeah.
We see that, and with SoulCon, we just went through that. Our workout regimen, I guess you could call it, and it's a faith walk, and it's working out, nutrition, stuff like that. And so what we did is through that is feeding our faith over our flesh, and that's dying daily to some of the things that sometimes we think are good for us, like I like ice cream, but if I'm trying to get better with my health, I can't eat that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can't eat it at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, or like your bowl of cereal at midnight.
Yeah, straight up. It's big facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just real quick, for those of you who don't know what SoulCon is, it's a book that me and Jackson kind of went through, which what he said is like feeding our faith over our flesh, and it's this idea of like growing closer to Christ while growing healthy physically. So growing spiritually and physically in health, and so yeah, that was something we went through together, and yeah.
It's pretty beneficial, I think, and especially just like what we're talking about, the process of growing every single day, and there are going to be times when we fall, and I think we still see that because sin is still present in this world. You can see that from everything going on in our lives, but there's this battle there, we're not perfect. We're gonna mess up, make mistakes, and then it's a constantly renewing our mind. Looking at 2 Corinthians, 10:5, talking about every thought captive in obedience to Christ, and taking those things and taking the things we think about, like focusing ourselves on who God is every single morning when we wake up. And it's kind of like, we see our part in this, look at Joshua 1:8, our response to that promise God put in Lamentations is, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. So it's that process of growing every day, making up your mind to follow Christ with everything, every aspect of our daily life. From what we eat, honoring Christ with that. It seems kind of cliche to take it down to those simple little things, but it's the little things that make a difference. And it's those little moments in every day. I'm gonna take today. I'm gonna pray for my meal this morning. Stuff like that. To grow, and being in the Word, like it talks about, meditating on it day and night. Focusing on prayer and focus on daily reading the Word, and growing in that every single day. With journaling, stuff like that. But will we ever be complete? Not on this earth. We won't be. That won't happen until Jesus comes back and takes us home. And so that's pretty much all we got. But one thing I want to end with is, we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we do know who holds tomorrow, and that's the promise. God's love is still going to be there every single morning. Looking at Lamentations again, it's every morning He's still there. He's still faithful, even when we're not. And a lot of times it's more of us. I think, just every day we got to have that mindset of, I'm going to pursue Christ today, regardless of what happens. I'm still going to be like, Lord, you're going to get the glory for today. So that's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah. I think, man, that was a really good word. I think what I loved about it is this process of sanctification and this idea of sanctification and growing closer to God and stripping away everything that doesn't resemble Christ. Like, I think sometimes sanctification kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like that time where I was wondering what I was going to do with the rest of my life. It wasn't like I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool that I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
It was like, dang, I don't know what I'm going to do, And I'm sure like, MJ, Pippen, Rodman, whenever they like kind of had those dry seasons, it didn't feel good for them either. It's kind of like growing pains, when you're growing and you're getting physically, taller, more fit, bigger, whatever. When you go through those growing pains, it hurts. Your bones are literally like stretching at an abnormal rate that causes pain in your body. Right. So like this idea of sanctification, growing towards Christ and becoming more Christ-like, yes, that's awesome. But sometimes, like, it's just realizing that it's going to suck sometimes. Like, sometimes that pruning process of cutting away what isn't anything like Christ, it's going to hurt. And I think when we that, but we know that during those seasons, that's when we grow closer to Christ. Yeah. I had this one kid in my D group, if I can just share a story real quick. Yeah. He came up to me and he was in tears when he was telling me this. But he was like, Nathan, I don't even know why it's worth it if I'm just going to keep messing up. Like, I'm trying to grow to Christ. I'm reading His Word, and I'm like pursuing after Him. But is it even worth it if I keep messing up? I was like, dude, the fact that you have to ask yourself that question proves to me that your heart is chasing after God. Yeah. Like King David back in the Bible, he was by not any means the perfect person. Like he committed adultery, committed murder, and committed all these different like just awful sins, and yet he's called the man after God's own heart. Yeah, and I just told him in that moment, I was like, man, that the fact that you're asking yourself, I'm doing everything that I'm pursuing after Him, and I just keep like having these pitfalls. It's like, man, that's kind of what it's about. Like, you just keep, because we're not perfect. We're going to mess up, no matter what. So you just keep pursuing after God. Keep reading His Word. Keep memorizing His Scripture. Keep hiding His Word in your heart. And just realize that the process of sanctification is going to suck sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think, you see the song Waymaker, you know, that, you know, even when I can't see you, even when I can't feel you, he's still working. He's still growing you, and that process is still there. And that's a song that, you know, I went to Passion back in January, and that song really broke me the last day. And man, I just figured out, you know, that, you know, regardless of what happens, God's still gonna be there working through my life if I'm pursuing after Him. And you know, like, I think we've had a conversation like that too. You know, many times, you know, just growing in community and, you know, in the Word and fellowship together and stuff. But I think, you know, it's God's doing some big things in the midst of all this pain, the struggle going on with coronavirus and all this stuff. God's still working. He's still good. We can trust in Him, trust in His love every single morning. Get up though.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. That was a good word. I think that about wraps up our final episode of Social Discipling. Remember, May 31st, we have our first Zoom call. I just want to see each and every one of you there, just talk to you, get to fellowship with you, have community with you guys, get to just kind of catch up with y'all, see what y'all are doing, maybe talk a little bit about the message that we heard on Sunday. And then also keep up with us on our socials as we continue to let you know about some summer events that we've got planned. I know me and Jackson have been in meetings where we've been coming up with some ideas on some different competition type events, some hangout type events. So we're so excited that we can begin to get into that process of just hanging out with you guys again.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah. All right, guys.